Hey guys, DIOR's 2021 Spring Makeup Collection has just been released and I have two of the new Trioblique eyeshadow palettes which I'm going to show you today. I have footage of the two palettes in natural light. I'm going to show you swatches in natural light and I'm going to create looks using each of these two palettes. So let's go ahead and get started. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I love talking about luxury beauty and fragrances and I do my best to show you the latest beauty releases. So if that sounds interesting, please make sure to subscribe and turn the notification bell on so that you don't miss future videos. Also make sure to follow me on Instagram because I showed already the two Trioblique palettes last night on my Instagram. If you are a returning subscriber, welcome back dear friends. You know I was very interested to try these two new palettes from DIOR and you know that I'm a huge fan of DIOR, so I'm really interested to try these two. So let's go ahead and get started. So as I'm talking, I'm going to insert videos of the two palettes and close-ups so that you can really see how they look in natural light. And there are two new Trioblique palettes and the paler one is 643 Pure Petals and the darker one is 663 Triple Bloom. Now both of the palettes, as you can see, look quite similar, so I don't think that you need both of them, and in this video I'm going to show you side-by-side swatches of the two palettes. So I had to take some photos before dipping my finger into the palette, so I've already swatched them now. And I have to tell you that my first impressions when swatching and when touching the colors is that the colors are actually feel a little bit hard, feel a little bit dry. So let me go ahead and explain better. So the top shades of both palettes looks fine to me. It is nice. I like the pretty colors of both palettes. The middle shade is like a topper. It's like a very sheer topper shade with very teeny tiny glitters. But the deeper shade in both of the palettes feels quite hard and feels quite dry. So I haven't tried them on my eyes. This is going to be the first time trying these two palettes. But when I touch the colors with my finger, they feel quite dry and I'm having a bit of difficulties, especially with the darkest shade in each of the palettes. I'm having a bit of difficulties, you know, dipping my finger. They feel like a bit hard. And I don't know if this is a new formula from DIOR. I mean, I can get the color, you can see here. I get the color on my finger, but still it feels a little bit dry. It feels almost like gel to powder. It doesn't feel like powder. Definitely I can say that these are not going to have fallout, but let's go ahead and try them on my eyes to see how they are going to perform. So as you can see, the flower patterns here are absolutely gorgeous. They are so beautiful that I almost felt sorry that I had to dip my finger in here, and I'm trying to keep the patterns, but I know that they're going to be destroyed, but at least I have photos before touching them. So let's go ahead and try this. I'm going to start with the paler palette and this is 643. So I'm going to start with the peachy color here. Let me go ahead and apply this onto my eyelid, and I like the pigmentation. Now the eyeshadows don't feel creamy, don't feel buttery. And I'm just going to apply this color all over my mobile eyelid and a little bit in the crease. And now I'm going to take the darkest color, which this is the color that feels a little bit dry. I'm going to take the darkest color and I'm going to apply it in my crease. And this is the color that actually feels a bit dry. So let's see how this is going to apply on my eyelid. I don't get a lot of pigment and I'm not going to edit this part. So with the darkest shade, it's not very pigmented. As I said, it feels a little bit hard when I touch it with my finger, and it feels a little bit like, almost like, not dry, but maybe a little bit dry, a little bit hard. And the brush that I'm using has firm bristles, so I wouldn't be able to pick up this color with a softer brush. Okay, so you can see that when I work, I can build up the color. Like, they're not super pigmented, but so far I like it. Okay, so this is what I'm getting so far. And I have to say that the formula is completely different from... I have two of the old Trioblique palettes and the formula here is different. Now let me go ahead and use the topper shade on my eyelid, and the topper shade is best applied with fingers. So I'm just going to pop this right here. And the topper shade applies very easy with fingertips. Okay, so here we go with the first look, and I have to say that I quite like it. Now, I didn't expect that the consistency and the formulation of the eyeshadows is going to be that a little bit dry and a little bit hard. Now let's go ahead and try the darker palette on this eye, and this is 663 Triple Bloom. So I cleaned the brush and I'm going to be using the same brush just to give these two palettes a fair chance. And I'm going to start with the palest shade, the peachy color. Let me know in the comments below if you, for the next video, if you want me to compare these two palettes to other palettes. Hopefully if I have them. So this color is a little bit more intense. We can see immediately it's like a peachy color. And I was looking at this color in the morning when I was having my morning coffee, and there was a little bit of sunshine, so I can see that in this color there are some very pretty shimmers that remind me a little bit of the one of the Chanel Mono eyeshadows from the holiday makeup collection. So here is how it looks. Now, taking the darkest color, I'm going to use this on. It's quite hard, I have to say, to pick up the color here. The darker color, like you really have to use brush with more dense bristles. And you can see that like it's not very easy to get the color on the eyelid. This reminds me a little bit of that more subtle, more gentle kind of Korean and Asian style makeup. I don't know how these colors are going to translate on someone with medium to dark, kind of a more rich skin tone. Okay, and then I'm going to use the topper shade right here, just as a pop of light. Very pretty, and I would say that they are beautiful as topper shades because they have little shimmers inside. They don't have big chunky glitter, but they have like those little shimmers inside that look very beautiful. Then I'm going to take the darkest shade and apply that on my lower lash line. Okay guys, so this is the finished look. So final thoughts on these two palettes. I have to say that the formula is not the same as the old Trioblique palettes that I have, and it feels a little bit harder. So the top shade in the both palettes performs beautiful. It is quite sheer. It is not, I wouldn't say it's a full coverage, but I would say that it's more of a sheer formula that still looks very pretty for the spring season, I would say. The topper shade in the two palettes looks absolutely gorgeous. I really like it, even though it feels a bit dry when you touch it with your finger, and it is not super creamy, buttery, but I think it's supposed to be only a topper shade that you should apply on top of eyeshadows just to add a little bit more dimension and to add some sparkle. And it has the tiniest shimmers inside, so it looks lovely on the eyes when applied on top of eyeshadow. I like the topper shades, but I know that some people are going to be frustrated that it feels a bit dry. It feels exactly like the topper shades in the palettes of the Dior Holiday Makeup Collection, which a lot of people didn't like, mainly because they feel a little bit dry and the colors are a little bit more sheer, so they feel the same way. And then the problem that I see that a lot of people might experience here is the darkest shade. In both palettes, the darkest shade feels quite hard to the touch. It feels a little bit dry. It feels almost like a gel to powder formula. And I don't know if this is because of the formula. So when I touch it with my finger, it feels very hard, but still on my finger, you can see that I get the color on my finger. But when I start using it with a brush, you can see what is the result. And you definitely have to use a brush that has more dense, more hard bristles. Otherwise, if you're using a soft brush, you're not going to be able to pick up the color. So I'm definitely going to update you in one of my next videos on how the eyeshadows wear and what I think, but this is only a first impression video, so please make sure to subscribe and turn the notification bell on. So that was all for today's video. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I hope to see you in my next video. Take care, bye!